The cheapest leveling kit on our website is $50. Now the most expensive, it's over $4,600, but what the heck is the difference between the two, and is it actually worth it to spend decent money on a leveling kit? I'm Fuller from Custom Offsets TV on the YouTube, and today I'm gonna break down some of the key differences between your basic leveling kits and the more pricey coilover options so that hopefully you can make somewhat of an educated decision on which one to get for your truck. To break things down simply, there are four popular types of leveling kits: spacer kits, lifted struts, torsion keys, and coilover kits. The cheapest option is going to be your spacer kit, but even within that category, you'll find prices from $50 all the way up to around $300, and the torsion keys are kind of in this same price range, with most being around $100 or a little more. Now, between those two, the spacer kit is definitely the most popular, but a lot of that has to do with the popularity of the trucks that they go on. So for most half-ton trucks, your Jeeps, your SUVs, the easiest and cheapest way to level them out is gonna be by using a spacer leveling kit. Now, obviously the goal here is to level out your truck and get rid of the factory rake that causes the front of your truck to ride lower than the rear. That's called rake. Now, most leveling spacers are installed on the top of your factory strut, and they lift the front up about 2 inches or so. Now, the cheapest options don't include anything more than like the spacer itself and maybe a little bit of hardware to attach it. They're very, very basic, and that's why they're so cheap. Now, if you're an absolute perfectionist, there are options for adjustable height spacer leveling kits, but they aren't really designed to be taken in and out and adjusted all the time, since each time you want to change the height, it's like doing a complete install over and over again. On top of that, there really isn't more than like an inch or so of adjustability, if adjustability is a word, I guess. The biggest benefit of these simple spacer kits on top of the low price is that they're super easy to install. Rough Country, among other manufacturers, offers kits made from a strong composite polymer that will never rust, which is neat, but just like the 1911 versus Glock argument, some people just prefer real steel, or in some cases aluminum. And Rough Country actually makes metal options as well, so they've kind of got you covered either way. And we also see a lot of folks running the Rugged Off-Road leveling kits and Wicked manufacturing kits. Now, the Wicked kits are CNC cut from American steel and finished in a rugged all-black powder coat, which is really nice. And I know for the Fords, at least, they offer one of the tallest leveling spacers. It's a 2 7/8 inches, so almost 3 inches there. Any larger than that, and you'll start to kind of run into issues with the geometry of your upper control arms and CV axles, but we'll dive into that just in a little bit here. Hold on 1 second. So moving on to leveling keys. Now, these are pretty similar to spacers in the fact that they are cheap and they should be easy to install. And I only say should because if you've got an older Cat-Eye Chevy that's rusty, you're gonna have one hell of a time getting the factory keys out. Now, GM does still use torsion bar setups for the 3/4 ton trucks for some stupid reason. But yeah, those kits start out around $100, like I said, and the biggest difference that you see from stock to the aftermarket ones is the clocked cutout so that you get more leverage on the aftermarket keys. And those are also forged, so they're super, super strong. Now, they work by applying more downward pressure to your front end, which in turn lifts the front of your truck. And there really isn't a whole lot to talk about here because they really are that simple. The leveling key kit is 2 pieces and it doesn't require anything else. Now, as far as brands go, Kryptonite is definitely the leader in this category, and most of the guys here who run trucks with torsion bars run the Kryptonite keys. Now, if ride quality is your main concern, I'd probably skip that spacer option and go straight for the lifted struts. The install is a bit more labor intensive as you'll need a spring compressor for sure, and having access to a hoist definitely makes the job much easier, but the added labor cost is definitely worth the improved ride quality. So a lifted strut replaces your factory strut and actually utilizes your stock coil spring in a lot of cases with either a coil spring spacer or a retaining mechanism for a spring perch set at the correct height for your new taller ride height. Now, pricing on these, there's a pretty big range actually. The best value ones you're looking at are about $350 or so. Those are from Rough Country, and they do actually sell a complete strut, so it's 100% bolt-on insulation and you don't need a spring compressor. But like I said before, a lot of the lifted struts, a majority of the lifted struts do require a spring compressor. So just make sure you're paying attention to the descriptions so that you know what you're getting. Now, the higher end kits run closer to like the $1,600 price range, but those also include shocks for the rear, which won't impact height, but it will impact your ride quality. And bump stops, billet coil spring carriers, roost guards, a few other odds and ends. You're getting a lot of stuff for that increased price. Now, earlier I was talking about how you can really only go up like 2.5, maybe 3 inches on a leveling kit before you need more than just your basic kit. And I wanted to explain that a little further in a bit more detail, and it'll make sense why some of these kits are so much more expensive than those base kits that we already covered. So the taller you go, the more important it is to run aftermarket upper control arms with upgraded ball joints. Now, this was a mistake that I made when I ran the Fox 2.0 coilovers on my F-150. I knew that with the serious off-roading that I was doing that I really should get aftermarket upper control arms, but I didn't bother to look at them or look at pricing ahead of time. I just ordered the coilover kit, and obviously I looked at pricing for that, but I just assumed that tubular upper control arms were maybe a couple $100, and unfortunately, I was wrong, quite wrong. I didn't technically need them, and it actually rode really well on the road, but I was just worried that when I'm off-roading, when I'm beating the heck out of this truck, I was really pushing the angles to their max and kind of putting unnecessary stress on my suspension components, so I wanted to be able to fix that. Now, when I started to shop for upper control arms, I found out that the Icon ones that I wanted were $850, and that was a bit of a shocker for me. But that's why you'll see these high-end coilover leveling kits with higher price tags, because they come with everything you need to throw some serious abuse at your truck. Coilovers are hands down the best ride quality, both on-road and off-road, and are 100% worth the money in my opinion. And of course, on the topic of money, yet again, you'll find a wide range of prices when you're looking at these on the website. So again, Rough Country, they make a 2-inch level with their Vertex coilovers for under $1,700, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, you can get the best of the best with Cognito for $4,600 on the high end. Their top-of-the-line stuff is beefy, though. I mean, I would say a majority of people out there would probably never use it to its full potential, but if you demand performance, then you need to consider Cognito, and probably for more than just their coilovers. They actually sell some of the more basic kits, too. The spacer kits for the popular trucks out there, outside of like their bare bones economy kit, the leveling kits actually include a lot more than what the other brands give you. So for $680, you can get a 3-inch kit that includes nice tubular upper control arms, new ball joints fitted for proper angles, and all that stuff. So Cognito components are actually engineered, manufactured, and assembled in the US, which is neat. And on the 3-inch standard leveling kit, they take a different approach at getting that full 3 inches. They use an 1.5 inch strut spacer, and they also have a 1/2 inch preload spacer, so everything stays all nice and balanced, and of course, it comes with all of the hardware that you need too. So yeah, is $680 expensive for a leveling kit? I mean, sure, but perspective, right? The whole 3-inch kit is still less than just the control arms I was looking at, and their kit includes new control arms. So like I said before though, the best of the best, definitely like the full-on performance stuff, the Cognito coilover kit is amazing. So they let you choose between 2.5 inch King coilovers, Fox Racing coilovers with remote reservoirs, or just the basic Fox performance shocks. And for around $2,000, you can get a 2-inch leveling kit that includes the Fox coilovers up front, rear Fox shocks, Cognito upper control arms, and that's probably the best value that you're gonna find. Or if you absolutely need the performance, that $4,600 kit I was talking about before has reservoir coilers up front, remote resis in the back, and the shock bodies are 2.5 inches rather than just 2 inches, so they're a bit better there. And you're looking at box steel upper control arms. Now they do have some kind of upper middle ground options as well with King coilovers, and that's around $3,900. Still gets you some serious performance there. So long story short, coilovers are the bomb. Cognito makes some seriously good shit, and if you need a level to get by until you can save up for the big kit, the spacer kits are cheap to buy and they're easy to install, so you can go with those too. If you guys have questions on this stuff or need more information, we can always help you out over at customoffsets.com. Peace.